Welcome to the Segmented Podcast, the show where we bring you 3 segments each episode, ranging from discussion to improv. How are you doing, Benjamin?
I am doing splendid.
I thought you were just going to say Splenda.
It's like splendid, but it's sweeter because Splenda.
It's like splendid, but sweeter.
I don't think I've ever had Splenda before in my
Nor
whole
have I.
life.
It's probably disgusting. I don't know. It's artificial sweetener. How good can it be? Anyway, before we get started, I'd like to say thank you to all of our patrons because I was just looking over the overview for our Patreon thing, and oh my gosh, I'm gonna go one by one, starting with definitely not Tendo's brother. He's been a patron for 10 months, which is that's so cool. That's so long, and I didn't even realize that we had been doing this podcast for that long. And then, of course, the classic Malcolm Spencer, who, if any of these listeners are listening, have listened to our previous podcast or been a part of either of our channels or anything, you probably know who this guy is. He's been a part. Yeah, Malcolm Spencer is such a cool human being, and one day I'd like to shake his hand and be like, "Well done, sir." But right now I'm just gonna shake this microphone. I don't know if that sound came over, but I was shaking it. Anyway, Malcolm Spencer has been a patron for 15 months, which is so awesome. That's over a year. And I wish we were recording when I read all the numbers and stuff, because I was so in awe, and Ben can probably confirm that.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
What the patrons have done for us over the course of the entire podcast when you really look at it. Yeah.
We're so grateful, and I want to do another song, not because I think I'm good or because I think it will be good, but I think it'll be entertaining, and I want to embarrass myself at the expense of others. So
or
as long as I entertain
least,
people,
do what the patrons want us to do.
That's
whether
what I'm
it be embarrassing or not.
Yeah, whether it be embarrassing, nonsensical words about songs about dogs getting out of your sight, or if it's a parody of American Pie. It's whatever they want. So hopefully they'll get to us. I'll talk to them about that. Hopefully we'll get on that. But finally, our third and newest patron, Owen. I'm not even gonna say his last name because I don't know if he wants his last name on the thing. I haven't asked him, so I'm not gonna. I'm just gonna say Owen. Hello, Owen. Hopefully you want your name on here. If not, I will bleep it out. But he's been a patron for 2 months, and it means a lot. And it's just really cool to be able to keep doing this podcast and not worry about having to scrounge money around, even though it's only $15. So it's not really. I don't even have to scrounge really at all.
Scrounge, yeah.
But it's the thought that counts. Anyway, Ben, what segments are we doing now that I've given my spiel?
Today, we are starting it off with good old Segway, where we try to seamlessly segue a conversation between random Wikipedia articles. Then we're going to go into 2-minute improv story, which is one of our classic improv bits, where we have 2 minutes to come up with a story, and every 15 seconds a new word is incorporated into the story. And then we're going to finish with I Don't Know, Man, which is an improv game where we each have 3 ridiculous, absurd questions that we ask the other that the other person has to assume is totally true and valid, and then answer in a way that is somehow logical.
Segment 1, Segway. So, as he explained, we are going to be generating a bunch of random Wikipedia articles and then trying to have a conversation, or not necessarily a conversation, trying to segue each Wikipedia article into the other. We'll go back and forth, and hopefully we'll be able to make a convincing and seamless segue. To start us off, I'm going to talk about Xmas, or Xmas, which is a 2001 crime film directed by Abel Ferrara. It was screened in Un Certain Regard section in the 2001 Cannes Film Festival. True story. It was
Awesome. That reminds me,
released.
it's Xmas. That's like Christmas.
Yep.
And Christmas is a holiday full of joy and cheer. And there's a place with a lot of cheer that is also near and dear to my heart named Palmetto, Georgia. I love Palmetto. There's food and there's people. Specifically, one of the people there, or actually a group of people, is for every 100 females, there's 88.9 males in the town, which I thought was awesome when I went there because I got to meet the 0.9
And so, you know,
male.
whenever I think of the 0.9 males, I think about how in China they only allow 2 children per household, I think, or whatever. And so they usually keep males for sexist reasons. And so, and whenever I think about China, I always think about Yang Zhan, which is a commentary of Xinqiu, or the Spring and Autumn Annals, which and is thus one of the classic books of ancient Chinese. True story. And with along with the Zhaozheng and the Guliangjun, the work of one of the 3 commentaries on the Spring and Autumn Annals, in particular, Guoyangzhong is a central work in the New Text Confucianism.
Confucianism.
Yes, Confucian. Yeah,
Confucianism actually reminds me of something that my old uncle used to talk about in his travels through Asia, which he went to China and he met Confucius, and then on his way back he met this other guy, or actually it wasn't a guy, it was a beetle named Sophronica ruciceps. Really nice guy. He was described by Stefan von Briung in 1954, and he was describing the beetle to my uncle, and my uncle was looking for him. So he's like, "Hey, what does Sophronica look like?" And Stefan von Briung in 1954 was like, "He looks like this." So that's how he met this really nice beetle guy.
Whenever I think of beetles, I always think of Afghanistan. And
right.
the what I always think of Afghanistan first, I think of Iran, because this is actually where this place is. I think about Jose Nabad, which is in Rostag, which is in Iran. And at the 2006 census, its population was 74 in 19 families. It's a village.
Okay. That's interesting. The 74, because in 76, there's this really nice thing that happened, which was the birth of course, Mr. Pedro Tyrone Collins. One of the greatest West Indian cricketers in all of cricketry of the West India, all of West India.
Whenever I think about cricket, I think about sports. And when I think about sports, I think about mobility. And whenever I get on mobility, I think about the people who can't move as well as everyone else. And then I always think, of course, the Gibraltar Local Disability Movement, which is a pressure group operating in Gibraltar that seeks to improve the lives of disabled people, promote equal opportunities, and tackle disableist discrimination in Gibraltar.
I see they're working towards equality, which is great.
Yes.
Something I know that's always been so equal was the size of the sections that they split up the provinces in Bolivia, such as my favorite, which is Tiraque Municipality, which is the first section of the Tiraque province in Bolivia. And in the census of 2001, it had 35,000 people, which is a lot of people in Tiraque.
You know what? Whenever I think of Bolivia, I think of beetles. And whenever I think of beetles, I think of Pseudocalamobius butanensis, which is a species of beetle in the family of Ceramycida. It was described by Bruning in 1975.
So beetles, right? Super cool. I have a lot of Islamic friends that actually have pet beetles. One of which being Michael Muhammad Knight, who is an American novelist, essayist, and journalist, and has been quoted as one of the most hopeful writers of Barack Obama's America. He is great. He's a great Muslim writer.
He's one of the most hopeful leaders.
Most
writers.
hopeful of
Yeah.
Barack Obama's America. No other America.
No, of course not.
Wow. Okay.
Yep.
Well, I think that was a very productive conversation.
I thought so too.
Segment 2, 2-minute improv story. So this is where we use Noah's favorite random word generator to generate 8 words. Because the reason we need the words is because we're telling a story. We're telling a story that's 2 minutes long. Every 15 seconds, we have to incorporate a new word that is randomly given by the other person.
Excellently explained. Do you want to go first?
Yes. Yes, I want to tell the story first.
Okay, I will give you my freaking words.
I just typed in calculator into Google instead of timer.
Do you know what? Last time we did the segment, I did that as well. So, it's a common thing.
All right, I am ready.
Okay. I will start your countdown, and then as soon as I say your first word, you will have to start the story.
Yep.
3, 2, 1, grin.
I was grinning when I saw it happen. Of course, the thing that I saw happen was the horrible, terrible event of the water sploosh. There was a big water, and it was in the air, and I was watching it. I was like, what's it going to do? And then it splooshed everywhere. And it went everywhere. And see, I thought it was hilarious, but my friend was actually standing under the water, and they got splooshed, and so they glumly looked back at my stupid grin, and they're like, you're not the one soaking wet.
Knuckles.
And then I thought that was hilarious, so I started laughing. And then my friend, who got splooshed by the big water in the sky, used their knuckles to punch me in the face. They punched me. What?
Blouse.
And then when they punched me, my blouse fell off. And I was like, whoa. What are you doing? That was my blouse. Luckily, I was wearing 2 other blouses underneath.
Hungry.
At this point, my nose was bleeding as I was on the ground, and I was like, yo, are you hungry? We should go grab a bite and talk about this over lunch while I change my blouse and you dry off.
Gluttonous.
So we walked over to the nearest Subway, and we were like, hey, should we be gluttonous? And we're like, nah. So we ate nothing but carrots until we felt
overt.
Until we just felt like awesome, like our eyesight was just amazing. And then, in the most overt fashion possible,
entropy.
We discussed how entropy had caused the water to sploosh all over them, and that it was just blind misfortune, and that it wasn't my fault that the water went sploosh when I was looking at it.
Bleep, bleep, bleep. Nice.
That overt and that blouse was really just a left hook. I was like...
Blouse really threw you off. I need to have more disconnected words. I realized that hungry and gluttonous were, really, tied together.
But it's fine. Because then it's random.
Yeah, but it's more fun if they're just wild, wacky words that completely threw... Like when we were doing that one, and you were going to tell a sweet story about your grandma, and then I threw bikini in there, and you were just didn't know what to do. Like that.
Well, I gotta tell you, I got a fun bunch of words for you, Noah. So
okay, good. I'm ready.
Get ready, get set, and tyrant.
Tyrant. The tyrant, Yoklav Mikshlarbabarb. He was the tyrant over the young town of Jehoshaphat. In Jehoshaphat, the tyrant reigned supreme. Taking all the children, and coincidentally, not the parents. Even though the parents, just by coincidence, were also children. Because everyone was children in Jehoshaphat. the town reigned by the
Explicit.
tyrant, and the tyrant explicitly stated, I want everyone in here to be children. And so he took his child ray and he turned everyone into children, and that is why all of them are children, including the parents, which isn't biologically
Demolition.
possible. But they were adults first, and then they became children. And so the tyrant then took demolition and destroyed all of their houses and created new houses that are all small, child-sized houses. What? Say that again?
Chant.
And so, one day, after the tyrant was reigning over their Jehoshaphat for 15 years, the children were still children and started chanting, we want freedom, we want freedom, because they...
Fabric.
Because even though they were still children, they learned about government and how bureaucracies work. And so what they did was they grabbed all the fabric and raised their flags in the air, and we said, we want freedom, we want freedom. And they're all children still, but they're still now chanting this.
Gravy.
In their... So they go, and then what they do is they slaughter cows, and they make gravy from the meat, and they make it boiling, and they throw it on the doorstep of the tyrant, and they say, we want freedom, and they're chanting with their flags, and the gravy...
Diametric.
And I don't even know what the frick that means, and so they took their diametric hats, and they put them on, and put gravy in their mouths, and they spat it all over the tyrant, and said, we want freedom, and finally, the tyrant said, you may have your freedom.
Beep. Diametric means, hold on, relating to or constituting a straight line segment passing through the center of a figure or body. I had
Like a
no idea what that
diameter?
meant.
Like a diameter? Oh, it's like a diameter. Okay.
It was either that or it was something like really boring, like dirt or wood or something like that. I was like, nah.
Diametric hats. That's one thing that I learned in improv club, is if you don't know what it is, just make it up.
It becomes something new. You give it new meaning.
Uh-huh. It was obviously an adjective. So,
Yes.
that was fun.
Whoa, dude.
What?
This random word website says easy steps. Click start now, add to Chrome, and then you could search the web. What? Power search?
What are you talking about? Where are you? Are you on Text Fixer? I'm so confused.
Yeah. There's an ad, and it's one of those, like, download now green buttons.
Oh, okay. I have ad blocker. That's why I was, like, confused.
Use ad blocker?
Yeah.
Do you want people to starve?
Yes.
Okay, fair enough. Segment 3. I don't know, man.
Okay, I don't know, man, is a segment where we will provide each other with 3 questions that were completely outrageous, that don't make sense with any sort of logic, but we will have to assume the position that what they said made complete sense and give a logical explanation. It's usually a how question, why question, a where question, probably not a where question, and so you have to answer the logic and philosophy and the thought process behind circumstances. It kind of doesn't make sense, so, I mean, I hope it makes sense when we start it.
It will make sense once we start doing it.
I hope so.
I made some really hard ones, I think, at least for you today. So.
All right. Do you want to start
with
with giving them to me, or?
Yeah. Okay. Noah.
Yes.
Where can I find size 17 horn hats? My horns are absurdly large, and I'm tired of getting bird poop on them when I go on my tomato walks.
Okay. Yes. Of course. You can get them from Amazon. They have everything nowadays.
Awesome. Well, great. I'll go to Amazon.
That was a really easy question. That's why we don't normally do where questions, but it's fine. I thought it was...
Well, fine. You'll see about the next one then.
Well, fine then. Okay then. Anyway, Ben.
Yep.
How did you save the baby goblin from the lava well?
It was pretty easy, actually. I was like, yo, goblin, there's gold over there. And the goblin was like, but there's also gold in the lava well. And I was like, but there's more gold over here. And then they ran, and then they looked, and it was a water well instead of a lava well. And then I pushed him in, and the little goblin child was stuck in the water well. And I went over to the lava well, and I fetched the gold that was in it, because it was all mine.
Wow. Did you ever find the parents?
Parents? No.
Yeah, the parents of the baby goblin.
I don't.
Oh.
I I didn't know if he had any parents. So.
Well, at least he's in the water well. So.
Noah, in what order should you stack your color mushrooms in your mushroom sandwich in order to maximize the potency of the mushroom's stomach gremlin killing abilities?
Ooh, that's a very good question. Of course, it depends on what you want to do. Okay, so if you, said specifically for the gremlin killing abilities, right? So
yes.
What you got to do is you never feed them after midnight unless you have a sandwich that goes green, yellow, yellow, green, green, blue. Stack them in that order. Make sure it goes from that order. Green, yellow, yellow, green, yellow, blue, which is exactly what I said before probably.
Right.
Definitely do that if you want to kill them. Feed it after midnight. It'll spook them, be like, oh man, I'm not supposed to be fed after midnight, but they're wrong. They'll die. They're going to die if they eat it in that order. That said, if you want a delicious snack for yourself that won't kill you or gremlins, go blue, green, yellow, yellow, green, blue, green. And then just eat that. It's basically like the other one, but kind of reversed with a few extra mushrooms. Eat that, delicious, and then you'll have the ability to kill gremlins with the stare and a snap of the finger.
Wow, okay. That's going to help my home cooking a lot. Thank you so much for the advice, Noah.
You're so welcome.
I'll do that next time. And what was that? Green, yellow, yellow, green, blue?
Yep. Green,
all right,
yellow,
awesome.
yellow, green, yellow, blue. Yep, that's what it was.
I'd like to think that if you get one mushroom wrong, you die.
Yeah, no,
And
no. It actually,
the other
if
one
you
allows
get
you to kill gremlins with the snap of your fingers.
yeah, no, if you get it wrong, you're gonna be completely screwed. It'll explode, actually. That's the bad side of shrooms. Anyway, Ben, what happened to the pixies who were stopping the evil magical forces from invading the town center? Where did they go?
Okay, so when the evil magical forces started invading the town, we were like, yo, the trolls could totally take care of it. We're like, trolls, yoo-hoo. Trolls came over. The trolls just started like making a mess of the place. They started just pillaging the bakery. They were using the public laboratories. It was a mess. And we're like, this isn't working. By that time, the evil forces had already made it to like sort of the inner circle of the city. So we're like, that's not gonna work. We need someone fast because we're out of time. The trolls didn't work. So we're like, oh, the pixies. They can get here like in a snap. So we're like, yoo-hoo, pixie. Actually, we didn't say yoo-hoo. We had their pixie whistles, and we're like, pixies, come over here. And then the pixies came from the forest, and the dark forces were like, haha, we knew you were going to bring the pixies because they're so fast. And actually, they'd normally be our weakness, but we brought a secret weapon. And then they pulled out the mirror of a Reuben, which transports any thing smaller than 7 inches into the Reuben realm, which you don't want to go to the Reuben realm. And since pixies are so small, they're like 5 to 6 inches. A few of them were tall, so they were fine. They all went to the Reuben realm, and the dark forces made it to the center of the town. It's bad.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I've heard about the Reuben realm.
Yeah.
It's not fun.
Scary stuff. Noah, I was browsing the other day, and I wanted to know, which radio station do you go to in order to hear the Purple Men argue all day about the construction of their new headquarters?
Oh, okay. So the thing is, there's multiple local stations. It depends on where you are. If you're in California, there's a statewide one called Purple with a Z. So purple spelt with a Z. Purple
Right.
Men Talking, and that is 97.6 FM radio if you're in California. Although sometimes they're usually talking about construction, but sometimes like a few weeks out of the year they're not constructing anything new, but while they're settling in their new headquarters, and then they discuss, oh yeah, we need a new headquarter base,
Right.
and so then they start on talking about discussion. So it's not all the time. That said, if you are in Wisconsin, go to 86.4 FM, and you will find Green Men talking about construction, and that's like all the way 24/7, every single. If you log on to it, change the channel to it, Go there. Then you'll find it. It's FM radio. But do you know what's interesting?
What?
It's called Green Men Talking Construction, but they are purple. It's just part of their marketing. They wear green clothes, and that's why they call themselves Green Men. But they are purple men. It's weird.
Oh, okay.
But that's just Wisconsin. However, you can go to their website, www.greenmen.com, and you can listen to a live stream.
That's what I was wondering. Yeah, I wasn't sure if they were the same thing. Yeah.
Yep. So you can go there, and then also AM radio. If you go to 666-420 AM, that's a universal station. You can talk.
Right.
There's all sorts of purple people. There's some red people sometimes. All sorts of it depends. If you go listen on the weekend, they sometimes have different chromatic guests. So it's actually very interesting. And sometimes they talk about construction of headquarters. Sometimes they're talking about bottom pennies. It's a whole thing.
Wow, that sounds really interesting. I'll have to tune in on that station this weekend.
666-420 AM radio.
Yep. Awesome. Very, very fascinating.
Now, Ben.
Station. Yeah.
I'm asking you this because I know you're so close to the situation. Mm-hmm. So just be truthful with me. Be completely honest. How did the chicken in the fridge take the spider diamond from the library and use it to take over Northeast LA?
Okay, so I didn't care that much about the spider diamond before this whole fiasco, because when I picked up the chicken from the store, I thought it was just a regular rotisserie chicken, and I was like, all right, I'll make some chicken maybe sometime this week, not tonight, but rotisserie chicken's on sale. Take it home. I throw it in the fridge. Bad idea. You're supposed to put it in the freezer. In the fridge, wouldn't you know it, it came to life. It was a full chicken. You know, rotisserie chickens, they have the feathers. It's basically just the live chicken. I forgot to put it in the freezer. I thought the fridge was fine. So sure enough, I'm at bed. I'm sleeping in bed one night, and I hear the crashing noise. And sure enough, I go out in the kitchen. The fridge is just destroyed. My new window smashed, and I could see the fridge chicken running away. I was like, probably just going back to his home or whatever. Sure enough, wake up the next morning. Police have surrounded my house, and they're asking me about where the spider diamond is. And I'm like, I have no idea. I haven't touched the spider diamond that's been in the library archives. That's none of my business. And then, of course, they're like, okay, fine. And then they left, but they put me on house arrest or whatever. And I'm watching TV, and sure enough, there he is, a 70-foot tall rotisserie chicken with the spider diamond in his beak, just annihilating northeast south LA. It was chaos. I wasn't there because that's not where I live. I live in south northeast San Francisco, but it was bad. And now everyone thinks that it was my fault. They think I am the cause of all this destruction and tyranny. But honestly, I don't think my mistake of putting him in the fridge was really the problem. I think it was the chicken's fault. I think it was
Walmart's fault for selling you that chicken and not putting a label that explicitly said.
That's a good idea. I mean, you could also say that the spider diamond being protected by just like a small little plexiglass case isn't enough to keep anyone from getting
and
the
also a 90-year-old librarian who can't see 15 inches in front of her face, but that's not relevant.
Yeah. There's a lot of factors. I'm still really salty about the whole thing, but what are you gonna do? It's kind of out of my control now.
Yeah. So. Well, thanks for shedding some light on the subject. I don't think you did anything wrong, and I'm really sorry.
Thank you.
I'm glad that we were able to have this conversation about it, though, so you can vent
and see eye to eye on the topic.
Yep, exactly.
That is the end of our show. We hope you did enjoy it. What did we learn today, Noah?
Well, we did learn that you can buy a size 17 horn helmet from Amazon if you need it.
I also learned that if you want your mushrooms to taste good, and also be able to kill gremlins, you put them in the green, green, blue, blue, green order, of course.
Yes, that's exactly how you do
enough.
it.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
really hope we don't kill anyone. And also, I learned that if you need pixies, just use a pixie whistle.
Exactly. Also, if you got a really bad like tyrant that's taking stuff over, just spit gravy at him. He'll give in eventually, if you spit enough gravy at him. You can find us on Twitter at Nomich_ and at Tendo. You can email us at segmented.fm@gmail.com, and you can support the podcast on Patreon at patreon.com/segmentedfm. But the best way that you can support Le Podcast is by leaving an awesome review on iTunes, or simply just sharing it around with your friends and family. Tell them. You don't even have to tell them it's a good podcast. You can just be like, it's a podcast. Try it. And then they'll try it and they'll be like, that's a tasty podcast, hopefully.
It is one of the most tastiest podcasts out there.
Yep.
There was a one review on iTunes that wasn't just from me, because I did put a review on our own podcast so it could get put up in the ratings. Don't tell anyone, though. The one review that's not me is from this guy named Mason, and
Right.
And he said that the Segmented Podcast is a part of a nutritious breakfast. So,
Right. See?
it's real tasty.
It's tasty and it's nutritious.
Yeah, boy. And again, thank you to our patrons.
Thank you
and
very much.
And also,
We love you.
we do indeed. Also, the survey is going to be up for this episode and next episode, but after that, we're going to be closing it.
So take the survey. Tell us
please
what
do.
you think.
Please do. It's been very helpful to see what segments you like, which segments you don't like, and we'll definitely be taking that feedback into account later. But until then, the
Best
way
to
kill
your
gremlins
is
with
a
green,
and
yellow,
and
green,
and
blue.
sandwich.
Did you forget the pattern? I think I got it.
Totally forgot. I just remember it ended with blue, so I was like, whenever he says blue, I'll say sandwich.
Excellent.
Recording now.
I am
Yep.
too. You were ahead of me on the game. Ow, I just hit myself. Have you ever,
What?
when you're wearing headphones that are like over ears, and you thwap the cord, and it just like pushes down on your head and into your ears?
Yes.
That just happened to me,
Yes.
and it's like really loud and just, it's not great. Anyway.
Actually, I was eating a hamburger. Can you say that again? I didn't hear any of it.